Hey guys, Amy and Paul here from FGS, and we are among the very lucky people to have seen Resident Evil 9 gameplay with our very own quivering eyeballs. Capcom gave us a top secret demo behind closed doors, and we are going to spill the tea. Here are 7 things we can tell you about Resident Evil Requiem. Paul, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so we have the number 1 is the very first adversary. So in the game we got to see the new protagonist Grace Ashcroft is being pursued around somewhere, which we'll come on to in a bit, by an as yet unnamed creature. It's a shambling knuckle drag of a thing that looks a bit like El Gigante crossed with Moreau in terms of aesthetic, but seemingly female. You get a glimpse of it in the trailer at around 3:10. We saw it take a brutal bite out of Grace's shoulder, and it literally tears the head off of a corpse with its gaping jaws. And it can crawl up through the walls and the ceilings, and it dropped down similarly to the Xenomorph in Alien Isolation. Very spooky, very big, very interested in fighting this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously because Grace is unarmed as well, you can't really do anything except run. And I swear, she does not run fast enough. I think I turned to you halfway through the demo and was just like, why is she not legging it? Like, why is she tripping over her own feet?
I mean, yeah, we'll get into why she's tripping over her own feet in a little bit. But yeah, no, it is very much leaning into that kind of like, run and hide mentality from a horror game rather than the old run and gun mentalities. I'm very excited to fight this one.
On to point number 2 then. We know that we're returning to Raccoon City. That was pretty much confirmed by the trailer, and the devs have confirmed that since. So we're going back to Raccoon City 28 years after the nuke was dropped. We're told that Grace is being sent back to the original scene to investigate a series of strange deaths and disappearances at the Wrenwood Hotel, which is where Alyssa Ashcroft, her mum, was murdered. Now, the location in the demo does feel like some people have said it could be a hospital. I think IGN said it could be a hospital or maybe like a treatment facility of some kind. But both me and you straight away when we saw it said it does look a lot like a hotel. So this could be the Wrenwood Hotel.
Very much so. It's got those ornate-looking walls, nice little hallways to run up and down and screen from that adversary I mentioned earlier. And very, very much, in keeping with the aesthetic that Resident Evil games tend to go for, of like everything being old and ornate. But it doesn't scream hospital to me. It definitely screams more, hotel than anything else. So I'm very interested to actually see where it is. Unfortunately, in the hands-off demo that we got to see, they locked us out of all the light areas, so we could only run around in the dark spaces, which kind of had, held on to that claustrophobic feeling that I think they were going for.
And I mean, it also, I guess the hospital aspect comes from the fact that she's strapped to a gurney, so maybe people think it could be that. But yeah, I thought the staircases, the little ornate chairs that you see when she's hiding from the monster in certain rooms, like it definitely, the layout and the aesthetic does feel to me like a little Art Deco hotel. And it feels, the monster obviously has been clambering through the ceilings, but it still seems fairly intact. So is it in Raccoon City? Is it kind of on the outskirts? Like, has it been nuked to hell? Who knows?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like I said, like you said there, it very much feels not destroyed, which for anyone who's familiar with the Raccoon City storyline, that city is not really standing anymore. So I'm interested to see where exactly this is going to take place. Either way, it looks gorgeous. That RE Engine is putting in their work on this one again.
All right, cool. What's next?
The next up, we have talking of Grace and her running around hotel. She is very much no damsel in distress. The gameplay section we saw starts off with Grace strapped to a gurney upside down in an unfamiliar room, but using her ingenuity, she quickly escapes and is off to exploring these creepy confines that she finds herself in. The devs made it clear that while Grace may not be as battle-hardened as Chris or Leon, she's still able to hold her own. They also said that Grace is the main protagonist, although there are a lot of rumours online about Leon being playable, which we didn't get any updates on, but who knows? Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I would not be surprised if they threw a second protagonist into the mix and just kind of kept that secret. That feels very Resi, but I guess time will tell.
Yeah, so it's not really a mainstay of the more recent ones. So Village and Biohazard didn't have that, but for anyone who is a old school fan of Resident Evil, you are familiar with the dual protagonists that have been like Resident Evil 2 specifically, playing as Claire and Leon, and switching between the two and their playthroughs. So I would love to see that. They're doing a lot of cool things, it seems, with this one. That would be a very cool thing to do, to bring back Leon.
Do you think as well, because Village was kind of a homage, almost like a spiritual successor to 4, do you think they'll almost make a spiritual successor to 2 with this one, perhaps?
Ooh, that is very interesting. I could see them doing that. Like, they are very much respectful of their lineage. They do like to show it off when they can. So yeah, I could see them doing that, and I would like them to do that.
Definitely. Okay, so, and this kind of falls into that kind of dual lineage of the action horror game versus the true creepy survival horror game. But this is proper survival horror. You said it straight away, and I completely agree with you when we saw the gameplay demo. It's a lot like the House Beneviento section in Resident Evil Village. There's no real combat. Instead, you're kind of exploring long, dark hallways with just the flicker of your lighter bouncing off every shadow. There's this long, mysterious corridor that you go down, and like the darkness at the end just kind of feels like it stretches on forever. The audio and visuals are on absolute top form, so you really feel that like fear-inducing paranoia. And all the time, Grace is shaky breathing, like she's trying to calm herself down. You can just hear her sort of going, ooh. It is really scary.
Yeah, it's definitely a fear thing. It's not cold in there. It looks like it might still be quite warm. But yeah, no, it is they are very much like using the sound and the audio and everything to its full advantage in this game. The visuals of the monster as well, and the fact that you don't have any weapons, they are very much feels like in this section alone, at least, they are leaning into that survival horror aspect, which I'm very excited for. It's the thing that made me fall in love with the Resident Evil series in the first place.
Yep.
So I'm very interested to see how much of that survives the full game. I imagine, obviously, it's a Resident Evil game. We will get a gun at some point.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, obviously on stage at Summer Game Fest, when it was announced, Jeff Keighley did say I think something like it's a bold departure or a bold shift for the franchise. So, I don't think it's necessarily going to be everything that we saw in this gameplay demo. I mean, that would be silly, right? It's a small slice of a much bigger game. We saw but a morsel of the whole experience. So it's obviously going to be very, very varied. But yeah, I did really enjoy the fact that it seemed like it had gone back to proper stealth. A lot of hiding, a lot of crouching, a lot of sort of peering around corners. I love that stuff.
Yeah, same thing.
So next up,
the series mainstays are here to stay. So again, for anyone who is a classic Resident Evil fan, you will know those mainstays that are here. We've got the fuse boxes to the special keys, all the mainstays of the recent games. The game once again uses the limited grid system from Biohazard rather than the briefcase from the recent Resident Evil 4 remake. So if you are looking for that kind of management system that Resident Evil is known for, you're going to get it in spades here. It is very much a case of you have your pocket space, and that's about it. You are not running around with a backpack in this one.
Nah, that's fair. I mean, it's got to be realistic. It's got to be hauntingly realistic. Okay, so number 6, which is the one that most people are losing their minds over, and I really don't blame them, is the fact that now you'll be able to switch between first and third person camera modes from the menu, which is absolutely massive because we obviously saw in Resident Evil 8 we were able to play as Ethan Winters both first and third person, but that only came later in the DLC, and you'd have to start a brand new save file to play through. You couldn't just switch on the fly. So this is massively just brilliant. It's going to change everything because I think you can experience certain aspects of the game in third person if you want. If you want to go through the real haunting long corridors and the proper survival horror moments as first person, it's going to feel really immersive, really tense. But if you want the action, you could easily go back to third person for the monster fights. Amazing stuff.
Oh yeah, indeed. The player choice here is great. I think I'm interested to see how both options play, especially if it's been built from the ground up. Obviously with the Village DLC, it added it after the fact. So it wasn't kind of planned from the start, I don't believe.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see with a new game and it all being built from the ground up to use both camera angles, how they both feel. I know I'm going to be playing it in first person though. Just for that immersion.
Yeah, absolutely. I probably, being a bit of a wimp, I probably will go for third.
Fair.
Just because that way there's something else between the monster and me, aka my character. But yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to switch a little bit on the fly and see how it changes the game. And then finally, let's talk about jump scares.
Let's talk about jump scares indeed. There is jump scares galore in this game. We watched somebody play for about 20 minutes, and throughout that time, I was constantly losing my breath, jumping out of my seat. There is a particular moment in the gameplay scene where you are just staring at a corpse and a giant, I want to say a foot-long hand, just comes off the side of the screen, just tears the corpse away. And that actually gave me palpitations. This game is leaning so far into the jump scares. I am so excited for it.
Yeah.
I don't know about yourself.
I am, yeah. But well, I say I am. I'm a massive wimp, but yeah, I definitely. It's when we sat down in that theater to watch it in like the presentation room, and you know the Capcom guys were like, right, anyone who sat by themselves, you're gonna hate this. Because there were quite a few moments where I was genuinely like, we were in the front row as well, so it was, yeah, we did ourselves dirty, really. But, there are some big jumps, and even just the way that it plays with you, you know, like you'll sort of, that classic thing of like something gets knocked off a shelf and there'll be a big bang and you'll be like, you'll spin round and you'll realise that it wasn't anything at that point, but then you'll hear something in the distance and you're like, have I just informed something that I'm here? That sort of constant terror is really sustained throughout.
Yes, I don't think I've ever been this scared by a glass bottle rolling in a video game.
Yeah.
And again, we weren't even hands-on and it still got me.
So that's our initial thoughts on the gameplay preview that we got. I guess stay tuned for more updates. I'm hoping they'll release this as a playable demo in the next maybe 6 months' time. That's kind of my hope. I mean, if it's February it's coming out, that seems feasible.
A boy can dream. A boy can dream.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.